Welcome to Albania, the new Europe of the Balkans, dear friends. So after this bit of unavoidable light propaganda, let me warmly welcome you here in what was once a bastion of hardcore propaganda. Dear friends, it feels truly wonderful to reunite, reminiscing the shared journey initiated 9 years ago bit of unavoidable by Angela Merkel in Berlin, and standing here as equal members of the European political community. In what was once some of you are from the EU, propaganda, and some dear friends, others, including myself, are from without reunite the EU. Reminiscing the shared journey. All of us firmly believe nowadays in the necessity of a common roof, a shared table, and even a common trench during these trying times, which it seems will worsen before improving. A war at Europe's doorstep, where an authoritarian regime has forced a democratic nation into a challenging self-defense of its territory, has starkly shown us that the world is changing. Has starkly shown us that the world is changing. The recent devastating attack on Israel compelled another democratic nation into self-defense. As we stand in solidarity with Israel, the insidious spread of hatred demonstrates time and again that different worldviews are creating deeper divisions around and within our democratic community. A pressing question I frequently ponder is, how are we reacting to the evolving global scene beyond our shared European borders? While we stand united against Russia's aggressive actions in Ukraine, are we also formulating, or at least preparing, a clear response to the internal political challenges our community faces? Many challenges exist, but for those of us here representing the Europe without the EU, the most striking political challenge is the painful separation between EU member states and non-EU members. Living without the EU is no easy feat. The challenges faced by non-EU countries are intensified compared to their EU counterparts. While you are all aware of this, I won't cast any blame or air grievances here. Instead, I'd like to pose a few questions. Given the rapidly changing global dynamics, can we handle the separation between EU and non-EU countries in the same manner as we did just 9 years ago when the Berlin process started? In 2014, when leaders of the non-EU Balkan countries met in Berlin, it marked a unique historic European moment for this region. Leaders from all 6 Western Balkans united for the first time in the history of our neighborhoods, not to dispute the diverse interpretations of a shared past, but to embark on a cooperative journey towards a significant shared goal: transforming this underdeveloped and traumatized region into a zone mirroring the EU 4 freedoms: free movement of people, of goods, of services and capital. Over these 9 years, we have witnessed numerous meetings between us and the EU side and among ourselves as well. We have even pioneered our initiatives, like Open Balkan, which would not have been conceivable without the Berlin process. Reflecting on the past 9 years, we have gained invaluable experience from uniting, exchanging views, and learning to civilly agree to disagree on contentious issues. We owe our gratitude to countries like Germany, France, Italy, Austria, and all who have championed this initiative from 2014 onwards. I believe the infusion of this new European spirit in this region is the Berlin process crowning achievement. Given our region's tumultuous history, this is a monumental and irreversible accomplishment of this visionary initiative. However, I must emphasize that the economic promises of the Berlin process have not been fully realized, to put it mildly, especially when compared to the transformative political mindset it has ushered. Angela Merkel aptly highlighted this during the Poland-Berlin process summit, when she said, highways don't require democracy to function properly, but democracies without infrastructure cannot properly work. It's commendable that thanks to Ursula and the Commission, and I must express here gratitude for Commissioner Varhelyi's relentless take potential economic change in the upcoming years through the new growth plan for the Western Balkans. This is the first bold step forward after a frustrating repetition of more of the same in dealing with non-tariff barriers and various incompatible documents within the region for work, trade, education, and so on. Albania has appreciated since day one the huge added value we all can create by delivering in this direction, and we have done our part. But the truth is that while efforts to lift non-tariff barriers and ensure mutual document recognition are crucial, the process our EU neighbors receive €4,517 per capita annually from the EU, while Western Balkan 6 countries receive only €138 per capita through EU-financed programs annually. Aren't these figures of a class division, I must say, that has progressively deepened the separation of our common nature have brought us so naturally closer in the human and political level. The Balkan Investment Plan are significant. However, and only 10% are grants. Additionally, the mechanism for accessing them is outdated and is slow. Please understand I'm not suggesting equal financial benefits for non-EU countries or an expedited EU membership process. The merit-based approach to work for our own benefit. What I'm saying is that in today's fast-evolving global landscape, and in a world where long-term strategic and at the same time expedited decision-making is becoming more and more the advantage of autocracies that are gathering forces to force the change of the way the world is organized since World War II, we should explore alternative avenues to bridge existing divides, ensuring a harmonious coexistence for Europe's future, and to mitigate the danger of such a divide before it may harm Europe from within. I won't dwell here deep into the idea of a larger union of 33, 35, or 40 instead of the actual 27, which is something quite challenging to foresee in any near future of such a time of incredible events, big and small, within various perimeters. Instead, I simply ask, would it be more pragmatic maybe to reshape the path from accession talks commencement to full membership and not rush with good intentions to put deadlines of further enlargements, which not only cannot be nor agreed and either maintained by all 27, but also contradict the fundamental merit-based principle of each individual country full integration? And wouldn't it be fairer and more efficient to address the inertia of this division by introducing an observing member status for countries transitioning from opening accession talks to full membership? Such an intermediate status, which would grant certain privileges, of course, without voting rights, could significantly benefit all parties involved, enhancing political unity within democratic Europe and governance accountability within the Western Balkans. If we can move beyond the idea of a distant relationship and function more like partners sharing a home, we would better understand mutual challenges and we will better share the burdens of the undoubtedly challenging times ahead. The new growth plan is a promising start towards a fresh path, which we should courageously and ambitiously explore to prevent the anguish of a potential separation after a union that never truly materialized. Thank you once and again, et vive l'Europe. And now let me pass the floor to Chancellor Scholz for his remarks.
Dear colleagues, distinguished guests, and Prime Minister Edi, I know that Albania is known for its hospitality, and this is proven today. We already realized it, and we realized it earlier when we had the meeting with the European Council. I want to thank you and your team for the very good preparation of the summit, and also the many high-level and ministerial meetings that took place in Tirana in the last months in the framework of the Berlin process. I have a lot of very good reports about the meetings that were very effective. I think we are well prepared. Yes, I remember well how we met last year in Berlin. We all agreed that the Berlin process is the best instrument to not only unleash the full potential of regional cooperation, but also to speed up the EU integration of all Western Balkan countries. This assessment is just as true today as it was last year. The Berlin process is a forum of cooperation when cooperation is needed more than ever. Russia's war against Ukraine has once more shown how important it is that we speak with one European voice and that we cooperate. I will really underline. And as you mentioned in your speech, I think it is absolutely clear that when we are sitting together here, we know that there is a new, very difficult situation not that far from us happening with this aggression of Hamas against Israel and all the consequences it will and might have. And yes, also the multiple crises here in the region, in the Western Balkans, underline the urgent need to work together and overcome antagonism. It is time to overcome conflicts that have continued for far too long and only hold your countries back. The recent escalations in the north of Kosovo have proven just how important that is. We need to finally come back to the implementation of the agreements under the EU-led normalization dialogue. All the more, I'm glad that this year's summit takes place for the first time in a Western Balkan country. It is a strong signal and underlines the ownership of the region. We should use this occasion to concentrate on the goal that all Western Balkans societies share, the integration within the region and further progress on the path of EU accession. Last year you made major steps in that regard by agreeing on and signing 3 mobility agreements. And I'm truly grateful that 4 of the 6 countries have ratified the agreements by now. The impact of these agreements for the people of the Western Balkans is very concrete. They can now travel between borders with only an ID card. They can complete their studies or take a job offer in neighboring country. We should build on that, and hence the agreements as already planned and discussed today our ideas about how to make regional cooperation a success story. Any progress you make on the common regional market will bring you significantly closer to EU standards. You can count on my support and that of the German government, and I'm sure I also speak on behalf of my colleagues. This is what the Berlin process stands for. Let us continue to put this into action. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. And before giving the floor to the President of the European Commission, I want to tell all of you that Ursula preceded you all by coming yesterday. And opening the doors for the young Albanians and the youngsters in the regions to start apply for the year 2024-2025 of the College of Europe in Tirana. And I really want to thank everyone that has made it possible. After we decided so in the previous summit here in Tirana of the EU and Western Balkans. So Ursula, thank you again for all you are doing for us and also for surprising us in the speed of delivery from words to deeds, which is not very usual for the European Union, right? So please.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister, dear Eddie, Bundeskanzler, dear friends. What a story we've just seen on the screen. What a story. And what a powerful message it is that it is not only the 10th Berlin process, but the very first time in a Western Balkan country. A powerful message in a world that you described, Eddie, where we are witnessing an atrocious war unleashed by Russia against Ukraine, Ukraine fighting for its sovereignty and territorial integrity and for our values. We have also seen a heinous terroristic attack of Hamas, killing more than 1,400 people, men, women, children, babies, only because they are Jews. We're living on a burning planet. We're challenged by Gen AI. In these times, you need best friends, and you said you are the best of friends we can wish for. So let's work that you join a European Union that has proven that it is possible to have together lasting peace and sustainable prosperity. And indeed, what a powerful message yesterday when we started the registration in Tirana, College of Europe, and those young students will now study European affairs. They come from Albania, the whole Western Balkan, from the European Union. What a powerful message for the next generation that will be carrying the European Union idea forward. The Berlin process, as you said, started in 2014, and it's worth to look into the papers from that time. If I may quote, the goal to make real progress in the reform process and regional economic cooperation. That's why we're here. And we have laid a good foundation already with our 30 billion economic and investment plan. It is delivering, already deployed, but more needs to be done. And I want to focus a few minutes on that one. Our economies, the Western Balkan and the European single market, are still too far apart. The Western Balkan economies are 35% of the EU average. So we really have to tap into the potential that is here in the Western Balkan and get it closer to the European single market. And this is what the growth plan is all about. We know that from the experience of enlargement, the power of enlargement, of course, lies in the values that unite us with the countries that joined the European Union step by step. But the second power is the economic development. Whenever there was an enlargement, not only those countries who accessed the European Union had a huge boost in their economic development because they joined the single market, but also the European Union improved because the single market got bigger. And this is the principle now of the growth plan. We want to basically open in specific areas the doors of the single market, the European single market, to Western Balkan companies. And this we have to engineer now. We are opening it in areas like free movement of goods and services, road transport, energy, electricity, the EU's digital single market, and very important, making cashless payments easier with a single European payment area, just to name a few elements. But, of course, opening the door is not enough. The Western Balkan countries also need to complete their regional common market. And this means that it is a condition that the Western Balkan countries also give access to their neighbors, to their market. In other words, if I very strong incentive. It's an incentive to open the doors economically, but also to ask for opening the borders between the Western Balkan countries and to do the necessary reforms. With that comes the funding for investment. Only by working together, we will bring the Western Balkans right where you belong, to the heart of the European Union. History indeed is on the move. My message is, this is a decisive moment now. Don't miss the opportunity, grab the opportunity, seize the moment, and we work with you together for that. Many thanks, Eddie.
President of the European statistic that the president equal in number of visits in the region all his predecessors counted together. Of 1 year he would overcome them. So please, Charles.
Thank you, dear Prime Minister, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, for your hospitality and for this great video, which is showing very clearly pleasure to be back in Tirana. Scholz, dear Olaf, for Germany's lead, for your strong personal commitment. I asked the question, or do we want a strong and clear answer? Enlargement is part of this answer, because enlargement is an investment for process, boosting operational, effective cooperation between the guide. More than 20 years ago, slow, disappointing, but now time to keep our promise. We have already got to do to get ready on both sides. You know that you must deliver on your commitments, starting with the necessary reforms to welcome new members. I repeat again, I believe, we must be ready on both sides by 2030 to enlarge, and I know your region, because you have been waiting for a long time. And dear Eddie, I know you have compared enlargement to a bride that never shows up to the wedding. I would like to tell you that the bride is now actively preparing the wedding. Everyone is in favor of mentioning a date. Enlargement is and will always remain a merit-based process. All rolling as an encouragement, a support to redouble our efforts for the Western Balkans to do the reforms that are urgent and needed, and for us on the EU side to launch this serious debate on the future of the EU. Just President Sanchez, we must work hard to get ready for future enlargements. Ladies and gentlemen, Russia's politics of enlargement and on the Western Balkans region to defend on what unites us and to support the people of Ukraine. With you, the Western Balkans at our heart, we'll be stronger to set global standards, to cooperate with and to defend. Ladies and gentlemen, you have made your goal of EU membership crystal clear many times, and we want you to succeed. Will happen first through gradual integration into EU policies, so the benefits can be felt more quickly by your people, even during the accession process. And this integration and the economic cooperation we have and EU acquis, and we should use these to phase in future member states. Second point, completing and trade in the Western Balkans. It would make it more attractive for investments. And I'm very on the professional qualification will be ratified by all countries soon, because it will benefit both. Finally, bilateral would be more painful than reforms. The past tensions between Serbia and Kosovo have again brought us as the founding members of our union. There is no cooperation without reconciliation. There is no stable future. Reconciliation requires political courage. It will be the spirit for this EU Western Balkan Summit that will take place very soon in December in Brussels. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, friends, our people, especially our young people, they want a brighter, a more optimistic future, a future that's fair, prosperous, and full of opportunities. I'm certain we can make a difference. It's time to make it happen together for the good of our entire continent. You can count on our sincere cooperation and commitment. I thank you.
Thank you very much. I should share with you that it is always a very special pleasure to welcome here in Albania for two very special reasons. First, he was when he made knowledge of our region by the pains and the hardships of our past. And second, because until he came here, we never had a Spanish Prime Minister landing in Albania. And nothing else than that. So Pedro, thank you for coming again, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Eddie. Deepest gratitude to Council of the European Union this meeting today. And I would also like to thank the previous speakers. Role in the path of the Western challenge on high, but and the ecological phase path requires efforts from all. The European Union in the Spanish city of Granada, the discussion on how to adapt. We are committed of commitment from the region with we this is also a reminder for us all, especially now when the Middle East, a region also very close to us, is on fire. Indeed, the language of violence and conflict is the opposite of what we defend. This is why I would like to reiterate our condemnation to Hamas attack on Israel. Israel has the legitimate right to defend itself within the respect of the international and humanitarian law. And at the same time, protection of civilians is essential, as well as the access of international aid for those in need, especially in the Gaza Strip. We must work now to avoid an escalation of violence in the region and reinvigorate all our efforts to achieve a peaceful resolution of the conflict between Israel and Palestine, bearing in mind that the only way to definitely resolve the conflict is the recognition of the two states so that they can coexist in peace and security. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pedro. With these remarks ends the public part of our session, and now it's time for my dear friends from the EU without you. So first and foremost,
From the people who make food commercials, to the sculptors building clay models for car companies, we travel